It's every artist's dream to have their own space to create in. In big cities like London, it can feel almost impossible to even have your own apartment, let alone a whole creative studio.
But in August 2023, that all changed for us when we found this place.
A 100-year-old, 1,800 square foot, two-story warehouse in the creative heart of London, Hackney. The catch?
It was going to require a lot of work. Our family and friends thought we were crazy when we signed the lease. But this idea was not as impulsive as it seemed.
I really do believe that your imagination can only grow as big as your space. I grew up in a very tiny home with my big immigrant family.
I grew up working on a cow farm.
It was a 2-bedroom flat. I shared a room with my sister for most of my life.
There's again, just like a very limited imagination of what your life could be. A farmer, work in Tesco's, or be a estate agent or a doctor. And if you wanted to do anything else, especially anything creative, you often got bullied or made fun of, because there just wasn't a lot of examples of people doing anything like that where I'm from.
I always had this dream to host people. I can literally count on my fingers how many friends I invited over to my home because I was quite shy about the lack of space I had.
It all changed for me at about 11 years old. One Christmas, my friend got a video camera. We were probably the first generation of kids that were making little YouTube short films. We'd make lots of horror films and little skits and all sorts of really cringy stuff.
You know, before the outbreak, they're saying all those messages like places to be safe away from the zombies.
As I was kind of approaching 18 and leaving school, I knew I didn't want to go to university. I had some friends on a film and TV production course and they said it's a complete waste of time.
I went to uni, did like a creative direction degree in fashion. Looking back, complete waste of time, would not recommend. But during that time, I did a lot of internships within fashion, magazines, publications, even social media. And that is actually when my love for storytelling and social media content creation really grew.
I was working in a bar and on the cow farm still, saving up money, still living at my parents while all my friends went off to university, seemed to have a great time, and I thought, have I made completely the wrong decision? I was even getting my mates and recording and producing their music just so they would have music that I could shoot a music video for. Just to be able to shoot and just be able to film something.
So after uni, I did the classic thing, went traveling around the world. Then I was broke after I came from traveling, and then I had to get a job in retail. I was like, no, this is not what I want to do. I really want to get into content creation.
I just started to really outgrow Lincolnshire, but I didn't really have any connections to anywhere else until I had a chance meeting with a production assistant who was filming a festival in the local area and needed a cameraman. Linked up with him, I thought, wow, here's a runner at a big production company in London. He was like a god to me, you know, and he was telling me the only place to be in the UK for film is London.
So I was doing social media as a side hustle, and then I landed my absolute dream job for a wellness brand. It was literally a role for a company that I've adored since I was about 16 years old. So I quit my retail job, let go of all my freelancing, and dedicate my life to this job at this company. And damn, did that take a 180? Because I got fired 2 months later. Okay, here's the deal. We want to help at least 100 people start their own creative space.
We've met so many awesome people that want to have their own creative space, just like us.
But the reality is we are a small business and have limited time and resources to produce the free content, the guide, and host community events and workshops that we want around this topic. And we're so determined to help as many of you have your own creative space. The link to the guide is down below in the description box. If you want to start your own creative studio like ours, this is the best way to do it.
Fortunately, I have a really lovely auntie that lives just outside of London, and she very kindly offered to rent me her spare room for £200 a month. And that was the only way I was going to make it down to London. So I just jumped on that opportunity. I was just emailing every director I could. I thought Joe was going to get me on more jobs, but he was obviously just a runner himself. So like, you know, he couldn't get me on that much to begin with, and I didn't really have any experience.
Looking back, I was just not ready for that job. I had so many limiting beliefs around myself. I lacked so much self-belief, lacked so much self-confidence in myself and my skill sets. I really didn't believe in myself. When I got fired, I felt so purposeless in life for quite a bit. Because I got my dreams, I met my biggest inspirations, and I lost it.
Everyone knows that's made their way into the film industry. It's just this grind of like meeting people, making connections. I worked in pretty much every single position in a film crew. I've done everything from lighting to catering to art department to studio managing. Like I've done everything. And so while I was having all those experiences, I was always directing, and my directing portfolio was building and building and building to the point where I got signed to a production company. I was with them for about 2 years. I did lots of big music videos, lots of work with like some of my dream artists, Ray, JME, Nothing But Thieves. I even did a Drake and J Hus video that didn't come out. But yeah, I just had this whole whirlwind experience of like living my dream essentially. And I think I quickly started to realize that this dream that I'd created for myself of like making it in the film industry and being this big director wasn't actually my dream.
Long story short, Jay and I met on a dating app
She friend-zoned me.
and he escaped.
Gen Z.
So when I got fired from that job, in my last meeting with the founder, there was one thing I look back on that she said. And I'm like, whoa, was she psychic? But literally word for word, this is what she said to me. Annika, I don't think you're meant to be working this job. I think you should actually build something with Jay, combine your skills together. You're a content creator, he's a director. Why don't you guys make something together? I was like, when she said that, I was like, what could we make? What, is Jay just gonna take my Instagram pictures? That's literally what I thought when she said that. And who would have thought, but 9 months later, Jay came back to me with this wackiest idea.
I was actually looking for an office for my editing suite, and things got a little bit out of hand on my search. And then
When you showed me those videos, I was like, I think he's losing the plot.
mezzanine up there, a sink. So this is the ground floor, and then double doors. I took it down to the space, like hoping to convince her, and I thought, you know, the videos didn't quite do it justice.
Yeah.
When you get here and you just feel the energy of it, see the potential, I could walk her through some of the ideas.
I stepped in and I was like, can this really become a studio? It looked like a trap house because it was so derelict, so unused for a while, really grey actually. I remember like the walls being grey. It's not that I didn't believe in the space, but the bigger feeling was that I believed in you and I believed in your vision. So I was on board.
To trust in me was something that meant a lot. We'd only been together for 2 years when we started the
literally
studio.
just 2 years.
You know, this isn't just going to be my film studio where I make my films. Like, this is a place where we can host events, host community. Annika will have, like, you know, at the time was still living at her parents' house. She just had a small bedroom. She didn't have anywhere to shoot content. So that was my sales pitch to Annika, was like, can be a space for all of that. We signed the lease, and what we thought would be a 1 month paint job and tidy up turned into 6 months of renovation hell.